Throughout history, many lives have been sustained by the moneyed elite that govern the world for hundreds and sometimes even thousands of years. The world is flat. The earth is stationary, and the sun revolves around the earth. Vietnam fired torpedoes at a U.S. ship in the Gulf of Tonkin. All of these so-called facts were believed by millions until history later exposed such beliefs as myths. Today, the greatest myths in the world, bar none, involve false beliefs about our global monetary system. Billions of people believe our modern monetary system is a fair, legitimate system. It is not. Money was once backed by gold. Such a system limited the fraud bankers could impose upon society. Today, money is backed by nothing but the word of politicians. Our monetary system is a fraudulent system. It is the root of all economic problems in every country in the world today. Today, the majority of people believe that the crisis has bottomed. It has not. This is yet another lie manufactured by, supported by, and disseminated by the very financial elites that operate the fraudulent monetary system. In reality, the worst of the crisis has probably not occurred. It is time we stop acting like mindless, unthinking robots, incapable of independent thought. Today, our fraudulent monetary system imprisons all citizens. Under our current monetary system, controlled by central banks, there is literally no way with paper money that you can protect your wealth. It is time to break free from the chains imposed upon us. Today, the world's top banking executives and the financial oligarchs that control the world's leading central banks continue to spread lies. Brothers and sisters, fathers and daughters, old and young, rich and poor, all have been hurt. Yet these lies are repeated over and over and over. Today, the world's central banks are printing trillions of currency. The desired effect is to create an illusion of wealth to calm its citizens, when indeed no real wealth is being created. In less than a decade, the US dollar has lost 50% of its purchasing power against some of the world's major currencies. In a few more years, the US dollar could lose 50% more. Today, if $1 million can buy you this basket of goods, then in a few years, $1 million will likely only buy you this. Real wealth is not defined by the amount of money you own, but rather by what that money can buy. When central banks devalue their currencies, they are in fact robbing you of your hard-earned money. Today, in Zimbabwe, if you own 1 trillion Zimbabwe dollars, you still can buy virtually nothing. Today, central banks are creating economies that will crumble like a house of cards. Any effort to build peace between nations, to end hunger, is near impossible with a fraudulent monetary system. Today, 1 billion people go to sleep hungry every night. Within 5 years, hundreds of millions may die of starvation due to soaring food prices caused primarily by our fraudulent monetary system. Today, false political leaders use this economic crisis to lash out against immigrants that have nothing to do with this crisis. It is the owners of these institutions that have created this crisis, not these people. If their attempt to blame immigrants fails, then they will turn to political ideology. Leaders that reside in capitalist and communist countries will blame each other's evil economic system for their country's economic woes, when in fact, leaders of every so-called communist state have injected facets of capitalism into their own states, and leaders of every so-called capitalist country have injected facets of communism into their states for their own benefit only. If you don't believe this, simply read your country's constitution, and you will discover that your country's leaders do not abide by your country's constitution. If the attempt to blame political and economic ideology fails, our banking and political leaders will then turn to religion to create division. They will try to turn Christians, Muslims, and Jews all against one another as a source of all economic evils in this world, when in fact, all three religions share the common basis of condemning usury, the principle that is the very basis of our immoral, unsound monetary and fractional reserve banking system today. Thus, while we have the opportunity to focus on our similarities and not our differences to find a solution to our global economic crisis, know that our global leaders will never use our political and religious similarities to heal us, but only to tear us apart. Not only must we be vigilant in ensuring that we ourselves do not fall victim to their gains, but we must be vigilant in spreading the truth about our fraudulent monetary system to protect our brothers and sisters and to ensure that they do not fall victim to their games as well. We must not excuse hate and fear as a solution to this crisis. Instead, we must transform cities into communities. We must encourage understanding of our fraudulent monetary system to find a real sustainable solution to our current crisis, for none is being offered by our current world leaders. The worldwide initiative to permanently end financial fraud seeks to employ networking science to spread truth and prosperity at a faster rate than the financial oligarchs can spread deceit. Today we estimate that less than 1% of the world's population understands the truth about the causes of this global financial and monetary crisis. By leveraging the power of networking science, and with your participation, we can spread the truth to hundreds of millions of people in a short period of time. History tells us that when we allow central banks to create money out of thin air backed by nothing but the word of corrupt governments, we experience market crashes, financial panic, massive increases in food prices called inflation, starvation, hunger, civil unrest, and war. Here is the purchasing power of the US dollar for a period of 94 years before and after the US Federal Reserve bankers forced an immoral, wicked, unsound monetary system upon the world. On this graph, the steep decline in the value of the US dollar began shortly after immoral bankers created the US Federal Reserve to monopolize their power over the currency flow inside the United States of America. It should be patently obvious that the world runs on an unsound monetary system today. The 41st U.S. Secretary of State, William Jennings Bryan, stated, "When you have restored the money of the Constitution, all other reform will be possible. But until this is done, there is no other reform that can be accomplished." I guarantee you that if you ask 100 students in any country what that means, you'll be lucky to find one that can provide a correct answer. Ignorance is a great pacifier, and it has been said that it only takes the silence of the good for evil to prevail. So that is why I wrote two books. The first called The Golden Gift, and the second called The Banker's Secret Plot to Bankrupt the World and How We Can Stop Them. I wish to present knowledge about our current banking and monetary system that will squash the ignorance of both our youth and our adults that surrounds the systemic immorality of our banking system today. If we all work together to spread truth and enlightenment, we can slowly regain the economic freedoms that represent our God-given birthrights and freedoms that sadly none of us have yet ever known. Though many in the world suffer from despair today and are deservedly angry at the corrupt banking cartel as the source of their problems, I honestly believe that a peaceful revolution is preferable over a violent one. We all need to educate one another about how money is created, what grants it value, what mechanisms cause it to lose purchasing power, the monetary value of gold and silver, and the mechanisms by which bankers deliberately create stock market and real estate market bubbles and then diabolically pop them. That was my mission in writing these two books. When the majority of people understand these topics, the foundations for revolution will be in place. Education is a low-cost, high-return solution to our global economic crisis. The partnership between governments and bankers will not be broken through the political process. Instead, let us use education to provide the spark that will move governments to action. Let education be our platform to bring about peaceful before violent revolution. Let education lay the foundation of economic freedom for every citizen in this world for the first time in over a century. educate the world about our current immoral monetary system, and governments will not be able to ignore the people's will to reinstate a sound monetary system that will produce the greatest positive change for humanity since the Industrial Revolution. I pledge every penny from the profits of the first-year sales of The Golden Gift, the banker's secret plot to bankrupt the world and how we can stop them, and yet a third fiction novel that I wrote called The Staggering Depths of Blissfulness, the three worthy organizations that help to build better futures for orphan children, children with learning disabilities, and child refugees, Two Sisters, The Mulligan Project, and Future-Led Kids. Learn about the beauty that a sound monetary system can bring to all of humanity, and simultaneously help provide a better future for hundreds of deserving children. For more information about our Books for Charity project and how you can help transform our immoral, unsound monetary system into an honest, sound monetary system that will revolutionize the standard of living and benefit all 6.8 billion citizens of this planet, please visit us at www.smartknowledgeu.com. Thank you.